If you've been researching Northwest Arkansas for any amount of time, Rogers has probably come up pretty quickly. And for good reason, because it's one of the most popular landing spots for families relocating to the area. But here's the thing that almost nobody talks about when they cover Rogers, and it's something that I tell every single client who has it on their list. Rogers isn't really one city. It's two completely different cities that happen to share a name, and which side of the line you land on determines whether you love it or feel like you made the wrong call. So that's what this video is about. Not just the highlight reel version of Rogers, but an honest breakdown of what it's actually like to live there, what's being built, what your money gets you, and who it's actually right for. I'm Eric Eby, executive broker with the Naturally NWA home team at Collier & Associates. I've been licensed for over 10 years and I've helped over 300 families buy and sell across Northwest Arkansas. And Rogers specifically is one of the cities I've placed more clients in than almost anywhere else in the region. So I have a pretty clear picture of what works for people there and what doesn't. Here's what we're gonna cover. I wanna walk you through both sides of Rogers, east and west, because they really do feel like different cities and most relocation content lumps them together in a way that doesn't serve you well. Then we're gonna talk about what's being built in Rogers right now, because there's some pretty exciting projects happening that will change the picture for families. After that, we'll look at the housing market reality, what your money actually gets you there versus Bentonville. And then I'm gonna be straight with you about who Rogers is and isn't actually right for, because it's not the answer for everybody, and I'd rather you know that going in. Let's get into it. Let's start with the side of Rogers that most relocation content completely ignores. And honestly, I think it's the cooler side. East Rogers is where you find Beaver Lake, downtown Rogers, and a version of the city that feels much more like the authentic Northwest Arkansas that people fall in love with when they visit. Beaver Lake is one of the genuinely awesome features of living in this part of Northwest Arkansas. It's a 31,000 acre reservoir that's about as beautiful as it sounds. And when you're living in East Rogers, you've got real access to it in a way that most of the rest of the area doesn't. Downtown Rogers is also worth talking about because it's been quietly developing into something really cool over the last several years. It has an older, more historic feel than downtown Bentonville. Think more character, more grit, less Instagram filter. And there's been a lot of investment going into the walkable downtown corridor that's starting to pay off in a real way. The housing in East Rogers also tends to offer more lot size and more character than what you'll find on the west side. And the price points are often a bit more favorable for families who want some space. If the outdoor lifestyle angle is a big part of why you're considering NWA and you want direct access to the lake, East Rogers is honestly the answer, and it doesn't get nearly enough credit in the relocation conversation. Okay, now let's talk about the side of Rogers that most people picture when they say they want to move to Rogers. And it's a great option, but there are some things you need to know going in. West Rogers in the Pinnacle Hills area is the commercial and residential hub that a lot of families gravitate toward because of the shopping, the restaurants, and the access to major employers and the new housing stock. And there's a lot to like about it. The amenities density here is honestly super high, and for families who want everything close and convenient, it delivers on that in a big way. What makes this part of Rogers really interesting right now is the scale of investment happening in a pretty concentrated area. The plaza at Pinnacle Hills just came online with 304 luxury apartments anchored by a 2-story Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Hotel Vin, a $72 million Marriott Autograph Collection boutique hotel with a rooftop bar, is opening this year. Hotel Avail, a 168-room tapestry collection by Hilton, just completed. The visionary 195-square-foot Class A office building with Nestle as the lead tenant is finishing up this summer. And the Ozark United Football Club soccer stadium, which has 5,000 seats, is coming to the area in 2027. The honest trade-off I always walk clients through is this: with all that investment comes density and traffic, and that's a real consideration. Pinnacle Hills is one of the busiest commercial corridors in Northwest Arkansas, and the residential development around it reflects that. It's got newer subdivisions that tend to be tighter, lots that are smaller, and the feel is more traditionally suburban and what you might picture when you think about the broader Northwest Arkansas lifestyle. Now, that's not a deal breaker for a lot of families, but it's worth knowing going in so you're choosing it rather than stumbling into it. Now let's talk about what your money actually gets you in Rogers right now, because the data here is more interesting than most people expect. So here's something I find genuinely fascinating about the Rogers versus Bentonville comparison when you actually look at the current MLS data. On the surface, Rogers looks more expensive. The median list price for homes in the 2,300 to 2,800 square foot range is about $629,000 in Rogers versus $587,000 in Bentonville. But when you dig into why, it tells a completely different story. Rogers has 11 listings over $1 million right now. That's about 17% of the active inventory in this size range. And a lot of those are lakefront or acreage properties near Beaver Lake, going all the way up to $3.5 million. Those listings are pulling the Rogers median up in a way that doesn't reflect what a typical family shopping in the $500,000 to $700,000 range is actually going to experience. If you strip those luxury listings out, Rogers drops to a median around $600,000, and Bentonville comes in around $573,000. Now you're looking at a $27,000 gap, which on a $600,000 purchase is hardly anything. Here's the other thing that's really interesting. New construction is doing the opposite thing in each city. In Rogers, new builds are actually more expensive than the existing inventory, with a new construction median around $642,000 versus $590,000 for older homes. In Bentonville, it's flipped. New construction median is around $558,000, which is cheaper than the older homes sitting at around $600,000. So Bentonville's heavy new construction pipeline is actually pulling its median price down, which is a big part of why it looks more affordable on paper. When you look at price per square foot, the two cities are almost identical. Rogers is about $240 a square foot and Bentonville's at $229. Now, these are not meaningfully different markets for the typical family buyer, which is actually a really useful thing to know if you've been assuming one is dramatically more affordable than the other. So where does Rogers actually differentiate itself on value? It's lot size, and it's not subtle at all. The median lot for a home in this size range in Rogers is almost a half acre, 0.46 acres. In Bentonville, you get 2/10 of an acre. That means at essentially the same price, you're getting more than twice the yard in Rogers, which is a really big deal if yard space, privacy, or room for your kids to actually run around matters to your family. And that advantage gets even more pronounced in East Rogers, where larger acreage properties near Beaver Lake are a significant part of what's available. All right, let's be straight about this, because Rogers isn't the right answer for everyone, and I'd rather you know that going in. Rogers is a really strong fit if outdoor lifestyle is a priority, and specifically if Beaver Lake and the East Rogers vibe resonates, because that combination of lake access, trail access, and a historic downtown corridor is honestly pretty unique and underrated in the Northwest Arkansas relocation conversation. It's also a great fit for families who want significantly more land for their money, because at the median price point, Rogers is giving you more than twice the lot size than you get in Bentonville. And that matters a lot if you want a real backyard and some breathing room between you and your neighbors. It's also a solid choice if you work in the central part of Northwest Arkansas and want a commute that works in multiple directions. Rogers sits in a really central position in the metro that gives you reasonable access to both Bentonville and Fayetteville without living in either. Where Rogers might not be the right call is if walkability to a single cohesive downtown is really important to you, because the two-city nature of Rogers means it doesn't have that one concentrated urban core the way Bentonville does. And if the density and traffic of the Pinnacle Hills corridor is going to bother you, you need to be intentional about which neighborhood you choose, because the experience varies a lot depending on exactly where you land. So here's the summary of what we covered today. Rogers is really two cities. East Rogers with Beaver Lake, historic downtown and more space, and West Rogers with the Pinnacle Hills area, higher amenity density, and a massive amount of active development happening right now. For housing, Rogers and Bentonville are closer in price than most people think once you account for Rogers' luxury lakefront inventory pulling the median up, and the real Rogers advantage is lot size, where you're getting more than twice the land at the median price. Rogers is a strong fit for families who want outdoor access, more space, and a central location in the area. But if a walkable single downtown is the main priority, Bentonville probably serves you better. If you're trying to figure out whether Rogers specifically makes sense for your situation, your budget, your commute, your lifestyle priorities, that's the exact kind of conversation I have with families every week, and I'm happy to walk through it with you. No pressure, just an honest conversation. Reach out whenever you're ready. And if you found this video helpful, please subscribe. I put out 4 videos a month specifically for people seriously thinking about making a move to Northwest Arkansas. I'm Eric Eby with the Naturally NWA Home Team, and I'll see you on the next one.